You know, here's the weird thing with kids. They're stinking smart. And it was real funny. Like, my life led me doing things that I never envisioned me doing. For decades, I worked with kids with cancer. My wife and I were the head fundraising people for the Duke Children's Hospital, and I did a ton of things with St. Jude's, and just love working with kids with cancer. There's somewhere in here that makes me want to squeal. So I got invited one day. A guy invited me down to the Atlanta Mission. Well, I'd never been homeless. I never cared about homeless people. That's nasty. That's honest. My care of homeless people was, if you came up to my car at the stop sign, here's $5, please go away. And I had a guy invite me to lunch at the Atlanta Mission. The first kid I met down there, 21 years old, in the heart of Atlanta, living at the Atlanta Mission. My first thought, if we're going to be authentic, is get out of here. You're 21 years old, you're healthy, get a job. His name was Jason. Of course, being a comic and a writer, I want to know everybody's story. I said, Jason, what's your story? Why in the hell are you in a homeless mission? He said, well, it was my mom and dad and me and my brother, and when I was 11, my mom killed herself. He said 2 years after that, my brother killed himself. And it was me and my dad. We were doing pretty good. In my second year of college, my dad killed himself. And he said, I got to where I couldn't feel anything. I could not hurt anymore, so I started smoking crack and flunked out of school, lost a place to live, lost all my money, and I just couldn't hurt anymore. And I'm sitting across from him going, hell, I would have started smoking crack too. And all of a sudden you realize there, but for the grace of God, I'm in a homeless mission. And what I learned over the years, you know, people tend to view them as drug addicts or alcoholics, and a lot of them are, but that's the symptom. If you go back and find out the reason, so many of them had been molested, so many of them had been abandoned, so many of them had, some horrible trauma had happened to them early in life, and the hurt was so bad they couldn't deal with it, so they numbed. And so the guy, I asked the guy, I said, why'd you invite me down here? He goes, I want you to start a small group. There we go again, small group. He said, these guys have chapel a couple of times a week. They've never had a small group. And my dumb ass said yes, which is the only thing we can do for God, is say yes when he whispers something to us. I said, and I did say to him, I said, there's almost 7 million people in Atlanta, and you can't find anybody more qualified to do this than me, you know. But I said yes, and I had to, when I first started going, I had to stop at Chick-fil-A and buy them chicken biscuits just to get them to come. I had to bribe them. And it started with me and 12 guys, and over the course of a dozen years, it grew to 32 group leaders and almost 300 homeless guys every Tuesday morning. I would get up at 5 o'clock, which was really hard for me, because when you're a comic, you're doing a show late, and because I had kids, I would lease a plane. I spent so much money. I would fly home every night, no matter where I was on the road. If I was doing a show in Minnesota, I'd do it. I'd get back on that plane. I'd fly home. I'd land at PDK at 2. I'd go home. I'd get up at 6, and I'd take them to school. I went through like a decade without sleeping. But when I would do the missions on Tuesday morning, I had to get up at 5 because I had to be at Chick-fil-A at 6:30 and wait for them to unlock the door in order to be downtown by 7. So, and I did it forever. And one of my daughters told me not long ago, I never said anything to the kids about it. She said, Dad, she said, do you know what one of the pillars of my faith is? Is how, without saying anything about it, and I know you were dead tired, and you got up at 5 o'clock and you would go get those biscuits, and you would go down there and do Bible study with those guys. And she said, I just used to think, if there's something that good that you felt that need to share it, that I need to delve into it deeper. So that just became one of the... So it's not just what you say. It's because if what you're saying is not what you're doing, it's hollow. It's what you do. You have to be a guy that lives it out.